trends are enforcement is getting stronger and stronger. Unlike what a lot of people think, FCPA is not going away. Like some of the 10A investigations started 5 years back and then slowed down. FCPA doesn't seem like it's slowing down. The DOJ, the SEC, as well as the FBI are setting up specific task force. So companies who do business outside the U.S., especially in geographies which are red on the TI map, and you use third parties, definitely need to do something on a proactive basis and not just wait for something to go wrong. If you look at the Middle East, the Gulf area, every country is pretty much a monarchy. It's a kingdom. And all the companies you work with, whether it's healthcare, investment, insurance, even companies that appear private, end up being owned either directly or indirectly by the government. So the risk of doing business in the Middle East is tremendous from an FCPA standpoint, as you may be working with the government not knowing about it. And kickbacks, very common. The logic there is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So they're not shy asking about kickbacks, and your agents will not be shy about offering them and giving it to them unless there's a compliance program in place in the Middle East. India, on the other hand, a little different. The GDP growth rate has been between 7 and 9% for the past few years. Will continue to be 60% of the population under 25, so tremendous workforce, but the bureaucracy is still there. If you're going to India and not doing anything from an FCPA standpoint, it's very, very impractical. There are government touch points everywhere, and government employees are extremely underpaid. There is an expectation, even for routine functions, just to create an income tax registration form, your form will get lost unless you make a grease payment. It's called chai pani in Hindi, and that absolutely will happen unless you've trained your employees not to do those things and why it is inappropriate to do so. There are companies which operate in India, Indian and overseas companies that have a zero tolerance policy. We will go to the government department to get applications, to submit registration forms, and if they're not approved, we're just going to make a public deal out of it. We're going to go to your superiors, and there are people in the government who are non-corrupt, want to do the right thing. It is difficult, not impossible. So as long as the company doesn't have a policy in place, there is no guidance provided to the individuals as to what is right or wrong. Not having a policy in place is a tremendous risk, as opposed to having a policy, training them, and then testing on a periodic basis if they're adhering to it or not. Both countries are in the red for a reason. India for bureaucracy, the Middle East for its monarchy. The risk is tremendous. You need to address it. Turning a blind eye to it will not pay you dividends in the long term. So address it now while you can.